All right, so next we're going to talk about some more properties. This next property is still for condensing and expanding, except notice we have a subtraction in here where the last one was for addition. So our subtraction, notice again, same base, same base. Addition went to multiplication in the previous video. And so now subtraction is going to take us to division. So notice we take our first term, it goes on top, divided by our second term, goes on bottom. Sometimes you'll see these with parentheses out front. Doesn't really matter. But just know that our subtraction goes to division. Okay, so let's look at condensing one. First, again, same base, same base. Make sure you take a peek at that before you do these. We have subtraction, which means we need to condense to division. So here we get log base 3 of first term goes on top, x divided by second term goes on bottom, m, and we've condensed it to 1 log. For the most part, your goal is in condensing is to get it to 1 log. Sometimes if all of your logs don't have the same base, it's not possible. So then you just go to the fewest amount of logs necessary. All right, so this one we have 1 log, which means we should be expanding it. And we're given division, which means we need to go back to subtraction. So we go log base 5. It's going to be some kind of subtraction. Log base 5. And let's think which one goes on top. So up here, the first term went up top. So that means we're going to pull it back to x first and y second. So we went from division to subtraction and from subtraction to division, right? They interchangeable, go back and forth. All right, so that's addition / division property. Let's look at our last one. Our last one is like a power property. So notice again, we've got log base a of some value b, but now it's raised to a power. So it's raised to that h. And if you remember from the previous one, we did something where both of these were a's, and it ended up just being h. This one's a little different because those don't cancel out, but we still take the same idea, right? We bring that h out front, and so we're left with h times log a of b, right? Or let's say we were out front, right? It works backwards. Where if we were given this, we could then bring the h back up, right? So the way we did it, let me see, let's get rid of this. So there we go. The way that we looked at it when we had b there, this direction would be expanding. And if we went back this direction, that would be condensing. It's a little harder to see which one's which in this case compared to the previous example with the addition, multiplication, subtraction, division. So let's look at one. So here we're going to be expanding. We've got a power to a power. In order to deal with that, we bring that 4 out front, 4 times log base 3 of 9. Notice we've got all numbers this time. So if we wanted to, right, which we'll look at in a little bit, evaluating, we could evaluate this portion and then multiply it by that 4, which we'll look at in a little bit. The next one we are going to be condensing. Notice we have this number out front. And in order to condense, that number out front has to turn into that power up top. So this one condenses into log base x of t to that 6th power. And that's condensed. All right, so let's look at what happens when we combine these. All right, so you'll be asked a lot to either condense or expand a log function or expression. And if you can evaluate, you should, right? That's part of that condensing or simplifying process. But a lot of times, like this first example, when you see you've got like a letter in there, an X or whatnot, you'll only be able to simplify it so far. So let's look at this one. First, you should look for powers, right? That should be your first step. can I move anything to a power? Second, you should deal with addition / subtraction, and that should go left to right. All right, so first we got to see, can we move anything to a power? First thing that jumps out is this thing, that 4 can be moved to a power. So this we get turned to log base 3 of x to the 4th power, and let's bring the rest down. Log 3, 5 plus minus log 3 of 10. Okay, so now that we've moved everything to a power, nothing else can become a power. We want to do the adding and subtracting portion. And so from here, let's go left to right. So if we add and subtract, addition comes first right here. That turns into multiplication. So this portion goes to log 3 of 5x to the 4th, because we multiplied these two pieces, that 5 and that x to the 4th. Okay, let's bring down the rest. So we bring down this minus log base 3 of 10. Now we have subtraction, right? We've got that subtraction there, which tells us that turns to division. So we've got log base 3. First portion comes first. On top, 5x to the 4th divided by 10. Right, so we took each of those pieces, that first piece and that second piece, first piece divided by the second piece. We've gotten it down to one single log, which is good. That's our goal of condensing, and that's the furthest we can condense. All right, so let's look about what happens when we're asked to expand. And so expanding, right, we're kind of doing the opposite of condensing, which means we should go in the opposite order. So first, we want to do adding and subtracting. I guess let's say multiplying and dividing, because we want to look at the multiplication or division, and then we want to look at any powers. All right, so first here we're looking, is there any multiplication or division going on? Well, this chunk right here automatically tells me there's some division going on. So if we think about our properties, division goes to subtraction. So if we are expanding, we're trying to get multiple logs. So log 2, thing on top goes first. Log 2 of x to the 3rd minus log 2 of 6. Okay. Any other multiplication or division going on? Hopefully you see no. So let's look at the second part, any powers. Well, right here we see that we've got this 3 power. And so we want to expand that. So that 3 is going to come out in front there. So we get 3 log base 2 of x, right? That 3's gone now, minus log base 2 of 6. And so we've gone through, we did all of the multiplication division, we expanded all that to addition or subtraction, and we expanded all of our powers from powers to a multiplication. And so that's probably as difficult as they'll get, those kind of ones. We're going to look at when we can evaluate. Notice now this last one, no x's, which means we'll be able to get a value out. So notice it says evaluate. The last two said either expand or condense. But evaluate means we should get a value. That's what evaluate, right? It's in the word. So we want to be able to get out a number at the end. So a couple different ways you can go about doing it. You can try to evaluate each piece first and then do your addition subtraction. You can also go through and do your addition subtraction and then evaluate. Either way, kind of up to you. Personally, I like to simplify it before using the properties, but if you want to use the properties first, that's fine too. So let's first look at this piece. Log base 2 of 8. So that tells us, or asks us, 2 to the what power gets us 8? So 2 to the what power gets you 8? That gets you 3. So let's put that down here, 3. Let's bring down our plus. here we have 2 times, so let's just look at this piece of the log portion. So that asks us 2 to the what power gets us 4. Kind of sectioning this off. So hopefully that tells you 2. So then you get 2 times 2 gets you 4. So that brings 4 down there. And lastly, we have a subtraction of 2 to the what power is going to get you 2. And hopefully you can see there that our question mark is going to equal 1. So we're going to subtract 1 off. And from each piece of this, we get what? 3 plus 4 minus 1 should get us 6. So notice, right, evaluate, get a value, find a value at the end. You could have done this where you used your properties first and then simplified. Either way, it's up to you. So yeah, there's one way of doing it.